Many Idaho schools see the tremendous value of serving breakfast to their students and have elected to operate the meal under the Provision 2 option. Provision 2 allows schools to serve breakfast to all students at no charge for a period of 4 years. Schools receive reimbursement for the actual eligibility of participating students during the first year of operation, called the base year. Reimbursements for non-base year meals are based on the percentages of free, reduced, and paid meals served during the base year. If the socioeconomic status of the school's population remains stable, declines, or only has a small improvement, then the school may be approved to continue under the same Provision 2 reimbursement structure for an additional 4 years. There are many reasons a school might elect to operate Provision 2 breakfast. Food service may like the simplified meal counting and claiming procedure, which could result in a quicker service line and more children served. This option also allows for easier implementation of alternative breakfast services styles, such as grab-and-go meals or breakfast in the classroom. These meal service benefits only become evident after the base year. Administration values more students eating breakfast to support the educational mission of the school and improvement of classroom behavior in schools with a high need. Families appreciate that Provision 2 can remove any stigma of eating breakfast at school because no students are charged for the meals. Despite the advantages, Provision 2 does come with some challenges that must be considered. Operational challenges include a loss of revenue from households, increased participation from students, which may result in additional labor, supply, and food costs, the possibility of students being less hungry at lunch due to later breakfast service times, which could cause a decline in lunch participation and reduce lunch revenue, administrative challenges and difficulty of keeping the required documentation, which results in audit findings. And if a 4-year extension is not approved at the end of the cycle, families may not understand the decision of the school returning to standard counting and claiming. Per Federal Regulation 7 CFR subsection 245.9b2, schools who choose to operate Provision 2 must be prepared to pay the difference between the federal reimbursement and the cost of providing all meals at no charge from sources other than federal funds. In many cases, schools have to transfer funds to support food service in order to make up the loss of revenue when operating Provision 2 breakfast. Sometimes, the negative fiscal impact is due to increased participation, which requires more staff time to prep and serve the meal and additional food and supply costs. Under Provision 2, even the families that can afford to pay for a full-price meal are receiving a free student breakfast. Household revenue is not being received to help recoup costs, and federal reimbursement may not cover the additional expenses. In school breakfast programs that do not use Provision 2, the food service staff submits a claim at the end of the month requesting federal reimbursement for each meal eligibility served that month. For instance, a student eligibility for free meals is provided their meal at no charge, and the school receives $1.84 federal reimbursement for that claimed meal. A reduced price eligible student pays 30 cents for their meal, with the school receiving $1.54 in federal reimbursement. A student not qualifying for free or reduced meals must pay the meal price set by the school, $1.50 in this example. Even though the student pays for the meal, the school still receives 31 cents in federal reimbursement for this paid price meal. When Provision 2 is not implemented, household payments are combined with federal reimbursement to cover expenses. When a school operates Provision 2, all students eat at no cost to the household, but are claimed for reimbursement at their eligibility rates during the first year of operation. In the same example, under Provision 2, the school gets $1.84 for the free meal, $1.54 for the reduced price meal, and 31 cents for the paid meal in federal reimbursement, but no meal payments from the households to assist in covering the food, supply, and personnel costs. If revenue is no longer received from households paying for breakfast, the costs are still the same, but the revenue is less. In the case where the federal reimbursement does not cover the cost of operating the program, schools must consider where the money will come from to cover the difference between the meal cost and revenue received. The loss of revenue compounds over time. For example, during 1 month of breakfast service, 2,000 breakfast meals were served at no charge under Provision 2. Of those meals, 1,000 were served to students eligible for free meals, 375 for reduced price meals, and 625 for paid. Federal reimbursement resulted in a total of $2,611.25 based on meal eligibility, $1,840 for the free meals, $577.50 for the reduced price meals, and $193.75 for the paid meals. Since students are not charged for their meals, 30 cents was not received for 375 reduced price meals, and $1.50 was not received for 625 paid price meals. Therefore, a total of $1,050 in household meal payment revenue was lost in just 1 month. A school operating Provision 2 would receive $2,611.25, while a school not operating Provision 2 would receive $3,661.25 in revenue to supplement program expenses. Provision 2 breakfast can be very successful when all factors are considered. The state agency encourages districts to evaluate program costs and the eligibility of students participating in child nutrition programs to determine whether or not Provision 2 breakfast is sustainable. Should you have any questions related to Provision 2, please contact the state agency.